Welcome to the Tome, a D&D news, reviews, and interviews show, and I'm your Tome host, Jeff Greiner.
And I'm Tracy Hurley, and this episode, number 391, we're going to wrestle gangs of monsters in the 2024-25 version of the Monster Manual. Haven't heard that before.
You're right, because I slightly change the intro every single time. So there are 15 different intros so far to the Monster Manual. Joining us for this episode, as always, is the Goblin of the Tome Show. It's Brandis Stoddard coming to us from Dimension 20, Worlds Beyond Number, and other things, as well as being a Tome Show regular. He's often underappreciated, but super useful in nearly any encounter.
Eva.
And also on the team tonight is the Gladiator of the Tome Show from Gnome Stew. What do I know, JR? The podcast Thaco with Advantage. Jared Rascher is both a great warrior and entertainer who gets all the accolades for spending his birthday with us today.
You're not entertained.
And so, yes, we are talking about the latest Monster Manual. The latest is doing a lot of lift there. D&D 5e got an update in 2024, and we're doing a monster-by-monster dive into this book. So to get us started, it's disclosure time. Jared purchased the book on his own, and the rest of us got review copies.
All right. The last episode we recorded was like 95% Gith Yankee and Githzerai and largely complaining about the lore. And about 5% talking about the Glabrazoo. Which leaves us tonight.
But you had the two of us talking about Gith, so you had to know that was going to happen.
I'm a Gith fan. I'm good with that. But that leaves us tonight with the Gladiator. It is the next of our sort of NPC stat blocks. Now mixed in with all the monsters and things. I do enjoy the fact that our artwork is a underwater gladiator, sea elf gladiator. It looks like that kind of looks badass. So instead of the standard, it is sort of the standard, the stereotype Roman sort of look and whatever, but it's not the dusty Roman Colosseum sort of gladiator.
Yeah, the coral helm is absolutely awesome. I really like that. Like, don't wear coral. That's a bad idea, but that looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a sea elf gladiator, wear coral.
Yeah, sure. Because they make it useful, because magic.
Because magic.
It's like glass steel. Normally, I'd say don't wear armor made out of glass. It's just going to cause more problems than it's worth. But magic. So we have our NPC stat block. We only have the one stat block for gladiators. They haven't given us various levels of gladiators at this point. Just one CR5 stat block, along with our D6 table in this case, dealing with theatrics for the gladiator to engage in during a competition.
Well, the lore section here is just about as long as it is in the 2014. One paragraph. Sure. Different text size, but this might have more words. It would be hard to go much shorter. I do like the gladiator theatrics. So on the stat side, the AC and hit points have gone nowhere. They are the same. And yeah, we're looking pretty similar up in here.
The thing about the gladiator that's interesting to me is that it's they wanted a stat block for you to use in like gladiatorial combat or whatever. But on the other hand, like one stat block doesn't really do that because you don't want every single gladiator that you're going to fight to be the same stat block. It's going to get boring real fast. Right. But boy, this stat block reskins super easy. Like this could just be like a million different just warriors of various sorts.
So I have seen this in a ton of adventures, and I don't think a single one of them was an actual gladiator.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. and like, oh, we needed a CR5 brute. Cool, let's go.
Right.
And they're right. That's really useful, right?
Yeah.
I would also take 3 more like it that just had different tricks. Whatever.
Sure.
But
I'm disappointed that if you're going to call it the Gladiator, it's never had, or at least in 5e, it's never had this sort of throw sand in your eyes power. That seems like classic Gladiator trope.
They did switch the shield bash from being an attack to being it's a saving throw against it instead of them rolling to attack you.
Yep. Because that's more how shield bashes work for PCs, I think.
Well, yeah.
So that's fine. I don't know. I suppose it doesn't matter to me either way.
But the other thing that's interesting is gladiators are no longer brave.
Right. They lost brave, and then brute has been factored in. It is surprising that. Oh, interesting. So they got proficiency in wisdom saves. They lost brave and gained proficiency in wisdom saves. So that's the compensation there.
What did brave do before for folks?
Advantage on saves against frightened.
Okay. So that's how they compensated that.
Yeah.
I know we've said this before, but it's like advantage feels like a story. Extra bonuses are invisible.
That's right.
Sure.
That's right. Absolutely. But
I mean, that's a trend, and also the trend towards moving like some monster abilities to being saves that were previously attacks. That's a trend we've seen in other monsters as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's not being used overly much, but it is something we're seeing more in this version of the Monster Manual than we did before.
For sure. Spear doesn't include a used with 2 hands option. I think mainly because they don't want you to go through the math faffing of, okay, so they unequip the shield, and now you need to think about their AC.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that's why that's that way. And then parry is still doing its thing. Really, really similar.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So ready to move on again?
Actually, one last thing. They gain proficiency in initiative, which is a thing that NPCs can have and PCs really kind of can't.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a thing.
Although it's a useful way for the monster designers to tweak the initiative number mechanically for things that should be going earlier but shouldn't necessarily be highly dexterous.
I agree with that very strongly. It's something I've been using in some of my own designs. The more the thing is going to be a boss adjacent sort of narrative role, the more you want that, because that's how you make really sure they get a turn.
You're right.
Instead of, cool, I went after the monk and that was the ballgame.
Yep, because then it's just stun lock for the whole fight.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
They really do need to work out some kind of diminishing returns mechanic for stuns.
Should we move from our sort of savage competitive NPC warrior to a savage competitive monster race?
Let's do it.
All right, let's talk about gnolls. So for people who don't know, gnolls are hyena-like humanoids that are connected to demons. And in fact, were they fiends in the previous version? Okay.
No, sir.
So they, like many other monsters, have made the transition from being humanoids to being some sort of an outsider.
Because you got to make sure that charm person, hold person, dominate person don't work.
Right. So, those spells are becoming quickly less and less useful.
They're super bad now. Yeah.
And I mean, rules is written unless you've got a flexible DM.
Sure. as we always say, yeah, someone could go fix it, but it does feel like it might be Watsy's job.
Sure. Yes. So we have 4 stat blocks, and I feel like we previously had 3. Am I wrong on that?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So the null Demoniac is new.
Correct.
I feel like they're trying to do like a demon maniac thing, and I'm not sure that Demoniac was the right way to go. But that's a quibble. That's, I might have gone Demaniac, but whatever. So
it's delightful. It's lovely. It's Demoniac.
it's Demaniac, right? We have our Null Warrior at CR 1/2, our Null Pack Lord at CR 2, our Null Fang of Yanogu at CR 4, and now our Null Demoniac at CR 8. And so, other than the first 2, we basically double their CRs with every stat block. If that warrior could get himself up to CR 1, then we could have a real exponential growth trend.
Yeah. So the lore that they've chosen and really, really like nailed themselves to for Knolls in 5e is let's say, from what I understand, not well received by people who like Knolls. Because it posits that like Knolls are just inherently bad and awful, and they're, they were never actually people. They were hyenas that became fiends.
Yeah, it's weird because I mean the lore did change a little at the beginning of 5e anyway, because they introduced that, they just didn't make them fiends. But that is a dramatic shift from the fact that they were just a species that happens to look like hyenas in every other edition they appeared in.
Yeah.
Which we have a lot of. This feels a lot like they're leaning more and more heavily into the demon connection, because that feels like a way that some sort of evil outsider would sort of spawn in order to procreate, whether it be humans or gnolls or whatever, isn't the important part, but it's that they're sacrificing other life in order to create their offspring, sort of thing.
Sure.
That's really weird compared to how I've seen gnolls in older games, like older versions.
Yes,
being done. Kind of creates this weird.
I've seen gnolls pretty much end up being like up there with other PC races in other editions. Like, when I was playing Pathfinder, gnolls were just about as common as any of the standard species at that point.
In fairness,
the major thing in one of the games I play in, right? We had a whole story arc of going and helping some like savannah tribes of gnolls. It was super fun.
Yeah, no. And I can see where that's a dramatic shift. On the other hand, it's not completely wrong that gnolls previously sort of filled the same role as orcs or goblins or centaurs or, a dozen other species in D&D.
Yes.
And this makes them something different and unique from that, whether that's good or bad.
It gives you, so they changed them to fiends so that you wouldn't try to engage with them and make them people.
Wait. PCs aren't supposed to engage with fiends? Because that has not been my experience.
They aren't supposed to treat them as people.
Right. At least in the few games I've been in, gnolls have been that moral point that you, there are children, gnoll children. Sure. Do you kill them or do you let them go?
Right. And what they needed to do, I believe very strongly, is the same thing they did with orcs. Orcs are no more universally evil than humans are universally evil. You might be in conflict with some, but that's because you're in conflict with them, not because orcs are evil. Making them ontologically evil is the mistake here.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't have a strong feeling that that's a mistake or not, but it's definitely a difference. It's definitely a different play on how to integrate gnolls. If gnolls are fiends, having them be inherently a thing makes fine sense. That doesn't mean there can't be exceptions. There can't be the Drist rule in the evil society sort of thing.
The Drist rule is hyper racist, Jeff.
Oh no,
Yeah,
sure,
Hyper racist.
it's the one good one.
Yeah.
sure.
So
Because we're talking
that's not a good solution.
No, but you're talking about it's the difference between living embodiments of philosophical concepts, which is what fiends are, versus thinking sentient creatures.
Right. And taking a group of thinking sentient creatures and reclassing them as an embodiment of, a concept of evil is a bold move. And
Yes.
one I think we can reasonably disagree about.
Oh, and I'm not going to defend it. I'm just saying it's a different take on them. And if that was their story from the get-go, I don't think there would be the qualms. It's because it comes with history. It comes with history and baggage.
Yeah, if gnolls were always a demonic thing spawned from hyenas, eating demon-tainted corpses, then this wouldn't even be a thing. It's the fact that they tried to push for that change, which is really even stranger because they have settings where gnolls, like in Eberron, gnolls are actually pretty important in Eberron. They exist as sentient creatures. They're not demons. In the Forgotten Realms, gnolls were like the police force in Thay that got upset when the Thayans started.
Was that back in second or third edition?
Yeah, well, it was, but also going into 4th edition, the big storyline that was all part of Zastam, turning Thay into undead Disneyland. The gnolls were actually working with the rebels because it was we've been replaced by undead, literally. So you have all of these things, and it's just weird.
Yeah.
It's just weird that it's I feel like sometimes you did have some designers that were I didn't like that D&D lore, so we don't need to think about it.
They wanted a reboot. They wanted a reboot of what gnolls are, but didn't do the work of telling the story of how that reboot happened. They just wanted to have it be.
Anyway,
But they do have blocks.
with all of those objections in the record. Thank you, everyone. The Gnoll Warrior is the new Gnoll because, that is a name change that's made to recognize gnolls as being more of people, so they can be different. Yeah. So
I mean, it feels like a name change because all of the stat blocks are gnolls. So give them all sort of gnoll something distinguished, but
right. That's That's sort of as a piece of it also, right? So they have gained 5 hit points, which at CR1 might make might be another hit they have to receive. They have a rend now rather than a bite, because of course,
That means a part dragon, right?
Probably. So Rampage has changed a bunch. Rampage is once per day, immediately after dealing damage to a bloodied creature. It can make one rend attack as a bonus action instead of all the time when it drops a creature. It can do this. Actually, dropping someone is so much harder to do that Rampage didn't come up much, so they moved it. And they have a bone bow rather than a long bow, but that's fine. That's pretty cool. Its damage has increased a little bit. They don't have a spear anymore. They used to have both a bite and a spear. And, being real, it's a little hard to see why, what the bite was for other than just the rampage.
Sure.
Because spear was going to do a tiny bit more damage. So They kind of said, bite is a little bit of a trap choice for the DM, huh? Yeah. Okay, maybe we shouldn't do that.
Well, it was there explicitly to be the rampage attack, right?
Right. It's just that it's listed first, and
Sure.
so a GM who isn't looking closely might pick the wrong one,
Right.
and you don't want to be doing that.
Sure. But now they don't have
It
a
is
bite. Now they
interesting.
don't have a bite or a spear. They just have the rend, which I envision as much as claws as I do a bite.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I do think it's interesting that this is a clear indication that they're not even worried about trying to massage actual weapon damage into the stat block. There's no bow that does 1d10, but they have a bow that does 1d10 because that's, and I don't care. I'm just saying that in 2014, they would go to more lengths to try and say, oh, this is a longsword that does 1d8, but it does 1d8 extra damage because of this trait, instead of just saying this is how much damage the thing does because it's a monster.
Well, because adding in the text for that trait takes up column space.
Right.
So if they just eliminate it and make it do what they want it to do, but also, of course, everybody knows that bone bows are just better than normal bows. The
That
trouble,
makes it a shame that PCs can't use them.
right? That's a problem, honestly, because of course it's a bow. Of course it's lootable, but it's not listed under gear, so I guess it's not. That's stupid. Adding
it's
the
a
gear.
bone bow, it breaks.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's spirit linked. It's spirit linked to the knoll. That's obvious. No,
Okay.
I'm not serious about that.
No, but I think it was a really cool idea to add in that gear line, but the way they're not applying it in a way that uses common sense is baffling to me.
Right. Not a single knoll uses gear.
Right, even though
Yeah.
all of them have weapon attacks, but their weapons
Right.
aren't things.
Well, honestly, if they had just given them a longbow, be like, yeah, they do D10 damage rather than D8. Fine.
Right.
Cool.
Just call it
Because I
a
don't
longbow.
Mhm.
Call it a longbow, change the stats, done. Or call it a bone bow and make it lootable and then put in parentheses longbow so you know that it's just a longbow made out of bone.
Yeah. And like, honestly, I don't think players spend a lot of time on, oh, are you picking up a D10 to roll for that bow? That seems wrong.
Yeah.
You should roll a D8. Come on, bud. Back up off me.
We're not playing 3-5.
Right?
Right. 3-5, everything really had to be consistent, makes sense. So.
Oh, my Lord. Consistent. That second part I can't agree with.
Internally consistent. That's the same thing as making sense within its own physics, right?
So, are we ready to move to Null Pack Lords?
Sure. Yes, please.
Okay. So,
We are 20 minutes into our recording and have done 2 stat blocks. So yes, so let's go quickly.
so Null Pack Lords have had all of their weapons overhauled. Just totally different weapon situation. Javelins and whips rather than bite, glaive, longbow. I don't know why.
It does feel weird for them to rampage and then hit you with a 10-foot reach whip. That doesn't feel null rampagey, but okay, fine.
Sure. I don't know, man.
I might just reskin that for the rampage sake as a bite, but otherwise call it the same attack.
Yeah. And then instead of rampage recharge, insight rampage recharge 5/6. Oh no, that's the same. Sorry, their rampage is now 2 per day, but they have insight rampage recharge 5/6, which is, hey, you over there, go rampage.
Right.
Go.
They can make it because they're a lord, a pack lord, so they can get other people to rampage.
Yeah, and a good leader stat block is super fun, actually.
Sure.
You know what this feels like? A little bit Dark Sun, because there's no metal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is intended to play into like the savage nature of gnolls and whatever.
Right.
That they're building things out of the corpses of their enemies instead of working metal or whatever.
Yep. I think that is where we are here.
Mm-hmm.
or extruding their own bone because it falls apart when they die. Who can say?
Okay, so should we go on to the Fang of Yanogu?
Yep. We have picked up 6 hit points, nothing much. And we have rearranged our attacks. Now the Knoll Fang of Yanogu has a flail. Guys, that is huge in Knoll lore, okay? If you
What are you, a Flind?
Right. And that's fine, but like I need you guys to reprint the Flind stat block because oh my lord, those things are murder machines in the book they come out in. Like I just wiped the floor with my party with a Flind at one point because they're so overpowered.
So the Fang of Yanogu is like the tier on its way to becoming a Flind sort of thing. It's the
Sure, why not?
It's got the flail of it, and then it's got the upgraded flail when it becomes a Flind.
Yep.
Now
It might be worth noting too. The Fang of Yanagu was a fiend in 2014, which doesn't bother me because when you are a priest devoted to Yanagu, I can see doing the rituals and like willingly becoming this thing of complete evil. So.
Sure.
That's a different thing to me than saying the species is fiends.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. I also notice that the Fang of Yanogu has a bite, not a rend, an actual bite.
That's true. Yep. Yeah, so let's see. So fortunately that does still work okay with Insight Rampage from the Pack Lord. So that's cool. Because it can be any melee attack.
Yep. So it could flail or bite.
But unless it needs the reach, it should bite because the damage is a lot better.
Assuming that you're not immune to poison, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we have our new Knoll, the Demoniac. That's better. Demoniac.
Yeah, the Demoniac Grand Dam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is
Wider is better. Okay. Wider is better.
Right. Which is our CR8 Knoll, twice the CR of the Fang of Yanogu. And mostly, am I wrong in my quick interpretation here that is kind of your caster Knoll?
No, that seems basically right.
I don't know what else an Abyssal Strike is that could be melee or ranged and does only poison damage, if not magic. And the other thing is conjuring a cube of magical darkness. That definitely feels magic. So we have our caster Knoll.
Right. Hunger of Yanogu is doing a little bit of sort of Hunger of Hadar, Maddening Darkness kind of work here.
Not nearly as cool or unsettling, though.
I don't know, man. It gets someone for 8d6 necrotic and feeds temporary hit points to the demoniac. That's pretty gnarly.
Like the description isn't telling you that you feel tentacles brushing up against you in the darkness the way Hunger of Hadar does.
It is not. It is not Eldritch Frottage. No, that's true.
All right. Anything else on the Knolls?
I really wish the demoniac had like one actual spell, just one, just for a treat. Like they've got all the charisma. Let it be a little bit sorceress. Come on, a little bit warlocky.
Just a touch of warlock, yeah. All right.
There's also not a ton of story behind them either, because it's like, hey, all gnolls come from corrupted eating. They get better from being more eating of corrupted things.
Right.
It's like
they've eaten more corrupted stuff, so that makes them spellcasters.
Would you like your gnoll to be more gnoll? I mean, that's.
Right.
I mean, yes, though. Like, I summon the presence of Yanogu to eat your face is sick. It's pretty sick.
All right, let's talk goblins then. We have 4 goblin stat blocks. Do we have the same number of stat blocks as we did in 2014, or did they add the minion, or is that just a rename?
So the minion is new, and the hexer is new.
Oh, is it?
We
I feel
had
like I've seen-
Goblin and we had Goblin and Goblin Boss in the 2014.
Oh.
And the goblin has become the warrior. Yeah.
I feel like I've seen the Hexer before, but maybe it was introduced in a different book then.
Most likely.
It does sound familiar, but it's not jumping out at me right now.
Well, I'm going to do a quick search on D&D Beyond here and see what pops up.
That's the way.
Mostly I'm getting the Monster Manual.
Well,
In fact, that's all I'm getting. It's just the Monster Manual. There's no legacy books that list the Goblin Hexer. Okay, maybe I made it up in my head, but I feel like I've seen it before. So we have...
Goblins have had a roller coaster ride of alignments over the years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and they're Fey now.
Evil. No, they're neutral evil. No, they're chaotic neutral.
They are one of those folk that have just become straight up Fey now.
Yep.
Fey subcategory goblinoid, but still.
I wouldn't want to think of your charm person actually working on something that you fight.
Especially not when it's one of the most common stat blocks throughout the early 5th edition adventures that they published.
Only NPCs. Those are just spells that you use on NPCs now.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they gave us a new stat block for a goblin minion. They clearly don't want to go. They don't want to go back to the 4th edition rules of actually giving us like minions. Yeah. But they're trying to sort of simulate that a little bit by giving us an even weaker goblin, because the original Goblin Warrior was CR 1/4, so they're giving us now a CR 1/8. Although I will point out that it has enough hit points compared to the Goblin Warrior that it's not really playing the job, doing the job of a minion. It's very very possibly a 2-hit to drop, not a 1-hit to drop, and thus serves a different purpose than an actual like old 4th edition minion.
Well, right, and with cantrips at first level, just being a plain die of damage with no modifier, it is completely possible that you could take 3 or 4 cantrips to kill this poor thing.
Right.
but Jeff, you know what? They have gear.
Yay.
Well, thank goodness. But seriously, folks, going down from CR 1/4. Who is this serving?
I know that is such a weird decision.
Honestly, if it had 3 or 4 hit points, I feel like it would be useful. But at 7 hit points compared to 10 hit points, like I don't know what purpose it's serving.
Or if it did something, if there is X number of critical mass of them in one place, so that it meant something to have a bunch of them congregate in one place.
Yeah.
As I recall, there are mod rules in the DMG, but I don't remember them well enough to know whether or not it actually matters to have these versus the others.
Worth noting that the sidebar has a different translation of Bree Yark than in 2014. They have changed what that means.
What did it mean before?
No.
We surrender. It's now changed to Hey Rube.
Yes. That is a very different meaning.
I think it might be, hey, bada bada bada, so wing bada. Hey, bada bada.
Yes. Well, do you want to go through the stat blocks for goblins, or at least hit the highlights? The minion basically is just the warrior, but a little weaker and without the ranged attack. Well, I mean, I guess it has a dagger it can throw, but...
So the Goblin Warrior has picked up 3 hit points. So in 2014, the Goblin had the hit points of the minion, right? But the AC of the Warrior. And, same basic stuff going on, right? Between the Goblin and the Goblin Warrior. If we're honest, the Goblin Minion isn't a huge lot different, except that dagger damage is really, really low.
Yeah.
But the cool thing the Goblin Warrior has now is a damage kicker if the attack has advantage. So basically, they have a D4 sneak attack.
Yes.
Which is weird because they were kind of getting rid of that with some of the other sneaky stat blocks because it is conditional damage that is not always present. So we can't have that, except apparently we can't have that in some places.
Yep.
For a treat.
And they don't.
Jared, this stat block probably won't come up very often.
Right. Well, and they don't.
Yeah. When are you going to see goblins?
They don't have. There's no innate thing about them that gives them advantage either. It's not like It's not like they have a particular like ability that knocks somebody prone or whatever that would give them advantage on a regular basis for that to really matter.
Well, sort of. Nimble Escape might do that.
Because they can hide. That's true.
Right.
Nimble Escape to hide, then gives them advantage. Okay. That works.
Thanks to 2024 rules, we can now say they can become invisible. Sure. You can still see them, but they can become invisible.
Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
So Goblin Boss, is that more of the same as well? More or less?
Yeah, they still totally, throw the lower ranking goblins into the way of incoming attacks with redirect attack.
And as is always the case, our most powerful version of a stat block for a species is the one that learns how to cast spells. So it's interesting if you follow the life cycle of a goblin. They start with daggers, they upgrade to scimitars and short bows, they become a boss, and then they abandon all their weapons and learn to cast spells.
Well, it's just that the people who survive to being high CR are the ones who hit the books early.
I guess.
Right?
I mean,
stay in school, kids.
As an educator, I can support this, I suppose.
I want to know how a hexer, like a community with one of them, like lives goblin lives, because that grease would be coming out all the time. I know it's once a day, but
and hey, I mean, the having a bunch of goblin warriors with a goblin hexer actually does matter a bunch, because that grease can get the prone condition, fairy fire as well, blindness, deafness. Those are all things that can grant advantage.
And then goblins with an at-will minor illusion just seems like it's a great time. Like, I don't want to fight them. I want to just watch.
Yes.
Yeah. Jinx is a ridiculously good reaction.
When
it's a saving throw to force an attack to miss. Oh my lord. That is really good for a CR3.
Yeah. Good for them.
Yeah. I mean, look, a goblin discovered survivability.
Yeah. And that's why they're
now
CR.
we know why they lived a CR3. Yay.
Because they figured out how not to get hit. All right. Any more on goblins, or can we move on? The next one gets us through like 4 pages in one entry.
Wait, are we going back to the D's suddenly?
Huh. It is weird that suddenly dragon shows up in the G's, isn't it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, so let's talk about gold dragons.
Right after the heat death of the universe.
Yeah, no. Let's go talk about gold dragons. Historically the strongest of the dragons, the most powerful of the dragons, the golds. We have our 4 stat blocks. Wormling, young, because you want to encourage killing babies. Young gold, adult gold, and ancient gold. We've talked about the stat block for the young thing before, so, or not the young, but the wormlings.
Yeah.
So other than
the Jedi Temple,
other than the normal jabs like the organization and the inclusion of a wormling stat block that encourages the killing of babies, and of course there's no more claw bite. There's just Rins. It's gold dragons. It's meeting all the same sort of changes that we've talked about for all the other dragons. What is specifically unique about the changes they've made to golds?
So weakening breath works really differently. Instead of imposing disadvantage on strength-based attacks and all of your other strength-based stuff, it is both disadvantage and minus a d4, which becomes minus a d6, which becomes which continues on to minus d6 at adult. And this is me going to the ancient. Yeah, it goes up to d10. Get wrecked.
Mm-hmm.
But only for strength-based attacks. For once, it's good to be a rogue.
Yeah.
It is interesting to see them using the term tests, which is a common term used in many RPGs, but that D&D generally hasn't used. But clearly is a way of in this version of 5th edition to just shorten you're rolling a d20 to do something. Like catch all. It's not a check, it's not a attack, whatever. It's just all that anytime you roll a d20 that uses strength.
I don't think it's onerous, but on the other hand, I would rather not have someone have to roll an extra die and subtract it and do that extra math that might take a few extra seconds for every person that
I can tell you.
I'm not saying it's.
I can tell you.
I'm not saying it's terrible.
From years of playing with the Bless and the Bane spell, I can tell you that it's going to get forgotten about 50% of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I can confirm.
Any other changes to Gold Dragons? What is it that they most of them have picked up some sort of was it spell-like action or whatever they could do?
So the adult Gold Dragon has lost a few hit points, right? That's and of course its whole combat loop has changed to include spellcasting, right? In a way that it really didn't before. And of course they lost Frightful Presence, right? They stopped being scary completely, as we all know.
And when you look at that picture of the ancient gold dragon and how much larger it is than that person, you can see why people aren't afraid of them.
Oh yeah, clearly. That's what I was thinking too.
I find it interesting that they have spellcasting. They list their spells. None of their spells are banish, but they can banish as a legendary action. So clearly they know how to banish. They just can't do it as a spell. They can only do it on somebody else's turn.
Except that it's better than banish because it also deals damage.
Sure. But they can't do it unless it's somebody else's turn.
Sure, but that's a really cheap action. That's what they're like. Man, writing legendary creature stat blocks is such a pain in the butt. I'm totally sympathetic on this one.
No, and I get why they list it that way, like mechanically and for encounter and whatever. But also, gold dragons are NPCs as much, if not more, than they're monsters to fight and kill. So if I want them to be able to banish somebody, this stat block tells me they should be able to do that, even if it's not somebody else's turn. And I'm sticking with that.
I will say, especially compared to some of the dragons, if you're going to give me a spell kicker to swap out for one of my attacks, I'll take guiding bolt. That's a good spell.
Mm-hmm.
Guiding bolt's great. Yeah. It's only not great if there's an opponent on you because you have disadvantage on the range attack. But if they're on you, your Wrens are doing fine, bud.
Yeah.
Also, if you let someone that close to you when you can fly at 80 feet.
Right.
Yeah, that's about right.
Do we still have the indicators that tell us like what kind of flying they can do? Like is hover a thing? in 2024?
They don't have hover.
I know. I see they don't have hover, but I don't know if hover is still a thing.
It is. It is because they actually. I was noticing that they added it to a bunch of things that didn't have hover.
Okay, so
and Gold Dragon part of that was
the Gold Dragon can't just sit above you then and attack. It has to circle.
Which is weird to me because gold dragons traditionally have been things that maybe they don't even need their wings.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the one we're seeing in the full page splash art here is clearly hovering.
Yeah.
Well, right. I mean, they're supposed to resemble Chinese dragons,
right?
Which are never still in the air, even if they are kind of not flying through conventional means. Being still is not part of the imagination of that, I think.
I mean, I don't know. The one in the full page art looks still, and that's not something that I would say is not an iconic thing. You know, the mountain, the dragon rising up over the mountain and hovering there.
I mean, I'm sure all of the coils are moving.
Yeah. I think that if you want to justify the art, you can probably say that where it's where part of its body sort of dips below the rock in our view, it's actually on solid ground. But whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a dog at that point. But I don't know, man.
It's just weird because they added hover to a bunch of things that didn't have it before, and then for these to not have it, it just seems kind of weird.
It's clear that the purpose of stat blocks is combat. This art is not showing a combat encounter, so I don't have to follow the stat blocks. Done.
Yeah.
Solve that problem. All right. Anything else on gold dragons? Okay. Then it is time to move on to gorgons, which are not Medusa. Don't get them confused.
No, but they did something else that is weird too now, because going back to when they first appeared all the way back, they've always been a living creature, but now they're a construct.
Now they're constructs. So for people who don't have the history of D&D monsters, gorgons, despite Greek mythology, are not snake-headed women. They are iron bulls that breathe poison gas. And now we have 2 stat blocks for them, because I don't think that was a thing before, right? The brazen gorgon is new.
Because the second one is capitalizing on the fact that they are constructs now. So
right, and yes, and they're constructs now. They were always living creatures that were iron bulls, but living iron bulls are just weird fantasy creatures, right? Now we're just explaining that as somebody animated them.
And specifically, they have fleshy bits under the iron that they would grow on their outer body. Like that was a thing. But
yeah, that's it's a weird story change.
It is. It's not even one of those things that I hate. It's just that why do something that drastic, except if you're being overly logical. These things are made of iron, therefore they must be constructs, therefore they don't have the same history that they've ever had. That's a weird chain of development to me.
Yeah. I mean, there was no effort in the 2014 Monster Manual to justify what's going on with the questionable biology of the Gorgon. It's just leaning into these things are messed up. It will ruin your day. Oh my lord! It's sort of the vibe there, right? Then this is a shift. But what I do love the Gorgon command keys. That has a I think I can read that in a Greek folkloric way, right? Of Daedalus made some stuff. It was not always a good idea, y'all. It was not always a good idea.
And they're still turning. I mean, they have their poison breath or whatever that's still petrifying and turning people into statues and what have you. So it's playing off of the gorgons that are now just Medusas. Because
The other thing I did want to throw in there is Gorgon doesn't come from nowhere. There's like some weird Germanic bestiary from like medieval times that does have a bull / dragon thing that they call a Gorgon. It's just the fact that it's from like one folklore thing that Gygax must have read at one point in time, as opposed to the much better known terminology for Gorgons.
But he wanted to justify having both, and it's easier to come up with an alternative name for the Greek Gorgon because the most famous one is the Medusa. So, okay. It's a thing. It's been a thing in D&D for 50 years. That's not true. 50 is too many years, isn't it? We just had the 40th, didn't we? No, we just had the 50th.
So 50th.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not crazy. Okay, 50 years.
D&D is older than me.
Yeah, you're not crazy, just old.
That's fair. And now...
It took
go
this
ahead.
artwork for me to notice the bovine methane connection.
No, it farts out its nose, Tracy.
Yeah, you could very easily, instead of having them breathing the gas, it could be coming out the other end and have the exact same effect. Yeah,
Except that everyone would laugh more. So there's that.
Sure, but that's not unusual at a D&D table, I don't think.
D&D is not supposed to be funny. D&D is for serious business.
Oh, okay. Now the new Brazen Gorgon is a lot less of the traditional petrifying, that kind of stuff, and instead it leans into this fire thing. It has a fire aura. It does fire damage with its gore attack, and it has a smelting charge. It's leaning much more into fire and that construct nature that we were discussing before than the traditional Gorgon. Which means it's clearly not just an upgraded Gorgon. It's a whole different creature.
Yeah, like fiery minotaurs, fiery bulls, things like that. I have seen in a bunch of video games. Like Bastion's coming to mind for me. And so, like, oh yeah, those encounters are super fun. I want to put this in my game. Is my gut reaction here. I'm happy about this one.
Sure, it does seem like the only through line between these two Gorgons is the lore and the shape. Like they're constructs, but otherwise they don't really have. They're constructs and they're bulls, and that's really the only commonality.
Yeah, they're both Gorgons in the same way that golems are golems. They are a construct with a theme.
Well, and in this case, they're constructs with a particular shape. A golem could be all kinds of different shapes. I could just have an iron golem that's in the shape of a bull, and it's a whole different monster.
So, for the Brazen Gorgon, I do wonder how many tables will end up turning this into a smoker.
I mean, you just gave me ideas.
I would invest in the No Bull Grill Company.
Yep, I'm there.
I do want to throw out a few things that I think are sad, moving Gorgons from being living things, because you lose one horrific bit about them, which is they would eat things that they petrified, and their saliva would turn it back into flesh as they were eating it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's a thing, yes. The other thing is, it is one of the coolest things in D&D lore that they worked in. Gorgons hate rust monsters, because rust monsters destroy the plating on their bodies.
Uh-huh. They don't hate them anymore because they're constructs and don't have feelings.
Yeah, I don't care.
Jeffrey, that is rude.
That's my theme tonight. I'm rude tonight.
My Roomba would like a word, sir.
And it is worth noting, like, they use the word in the lore, they use the word automaton, not just constructs, but automaton, which in my head anyway evokes under that iron plating, there's, clockwork and gears and pulleys and things.
Nope. The skeleton of a bull, the blood of a Medusa, and the brain of a basilisk. That's what's up in there.
Oh, but they're connected by clockwork.
Sure. Specific, yeah. I mean,
and puppy dog tails.
there is actually more lore here than in 2014.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the whole blood of a Medusa, brain of a basilisk, is evocative to the classic Gorgon that petrifies. But what the hell does that have to do with the Brazen Gorgon that's not doing none of those things?
Well, yeah. I mean, they kind of are overhauling that a bit when they get to the Brazen Gorgon.
Yes.
But yeah.
But that's not in the Gorgon or Brazen Gorgon specific lore. That's in the general lore for all things categorized as Gorgons. Right.
And, I think that there's like connecting them to the Archdevil Moloch. They're brazen, but really we're kind of telling stories about golden calves here.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
I
think there's a vibe there.
Mm-hmm. Serving Moloch and archdevils and bloodthirsty gods. Yeah, I can see that.
I do get a little bit of whiplash when... Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say the best darn barbecue competitions of the wherever.
of the hells.
Yeah.
And Texas.
No one does brisket like Texas.
I do get a little bit of a broken brain when the sidebar tries to tie these to Lum the Mad, and
right.
He of the creating the massive organ, and the problem I have with that is you're taking something that's been lore since the creature was introduced and changing it, and then taking something that's super obscure that someone won't know unless they literally know that lore, and then attaching it to this. So I don't get it. This is one of those who is this for? Why? Why does anyone care about Lum unless I don't get it?
Okay, for all of our listeners, I just want you to know we have covered the machine of Lum the Mad in excruciating detail.
Yes.
Is it? As I recall,
it's the machine of Lum the Mad. Yeah.
Isn't there an adventure in D&D Beyond that uses the machine of Lum the Mad?
I believe so. Yeah.
I thought. Yeah. So that's where people might make that connection. The infernal machine of Lum the Mad. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a way that people could have a little bit of Lum lore. And that's a fun thing to say, Lum lore.
I mean, if you're going to do mechanical animals, throw Trobriand in there.
I mean, there can be more monsters in the future where we get more mechanical animals.
I know. I am extremely old, as my birthday would indicate. So that's all I'm getting across here.
Well, let's get off your lawn and talk about one more monster before we stop tonight. So then we can at least say we've gotten through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh dear. Okay. I was really hoping 2 more episodes for the G's, but I don't know that we'll make it. We got to move faster next time if we're going to get there. Let's talk about Garistro. Garistro are giant demon creatures. They're big, huge brutes. Huge, literally, in the D&D size chart. Is it the Garistro that have they gone through some different appearances over the years? Didn't they used to be more Minotaur-like?
They're very Minotaur-like in 2014 for sure.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and they're specifically tied to Baphomet. So
right, but the Garistro depicted in the artwork in this book is not.
You can look at that in the one in 2014 and think, okay, I see like there's a change in angle that's kind of distorting the face in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Like the face gets a weird bat-like vibe with how the nose works.
Yes. But there's also like if you're, it has been canon for a bit that demons and devils, their appearances change depending on which lord they're serving.
Sure.
And so I could see a Baphomet Garistro is more Minotaur-y, and this one just happens to be a Garistro in service to some other demon lord.
Yeah, it's definitely an available.
It's close
answer.
enough that can be an explanation. So yeah, they're giant siege monsters. They literally they have the siege monster ability. They do double damage to objects and structures. They tear down your walls and break through your defenses, so that then the thronging hordes come in behind them.
And honestly, siege monster is fairly common at huge and above.
When you get really big, yeah.
Yeah. Demonic restoration, right, is a trait now and not sort of buried in the lore section.
Yep.
Same number of hit points, same AC. The resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapons. At CR 17, that was not doing anything, so they didn't need to change the math much, is what happened.
Yeah.
But the resistance to cold, fire, and lightning is unchanged. Let's see.
For a CR 17 creatures, one of the things, as a DM, one of the things I like about a Garistro every now and then is that it's really easy to run. They're just big brutes. they have a charge, and otherwise they just gore and slam, and that's it. They're not doing fancy spells. They're not having all these complex abilities. It's just a really easy monster for a CR 17 to run.
Going back to the Knoll discussion, I am okay with having a chaotic evil sack of hit points. This is a good example of one.
Yeah.
So they used to fist you, hoof you, and gore you. Now they brutal gore you and slam you twice. They've got big city slams. Sorry, it's Letterkenny jokes. I don't know what you want from me. But the brutal gore it has picked up a push where the hoof used to knock you prone, right? So the damage math is very rearranged. Yeah, they've got good reach with all that because they're huge.
But the push of the gore also knocks you prone, so you can still do the whole prone thing.
True. Yeah. Absolutely. And they charge. They're all about that charging.
And I think it's important because I've had many an enemy in a game do their push thing and screwed themselves over because now I push them and they're no longer in range for my other attacks. But
that's the funny thing about 2014. They knock things prone with the hoof when what they want is to push so they can charge.
Yeah.
Right. But that's what I was going to say. In this case, they can gore you and push you away and then get in their charge because they can both move with their movement and also charge with their bonus action, which means, they could charge and then gore you and then move to catch up to you, or, there's all kinds of permutations, but either way, they can push you away and then follow you.
So I agree with that. It's just that the charge in 2014 gave them this god-awful 7d10 damage kicker. And there's no damage, and then also pushed and knocked prone, and that's all been loaded into Brutal Gore now. And they don't have to move to do it, right?
Right. Whereas the charge is just a bonus action that you move half your speed, and that's it.
Yeah. And it's really just about, hey, this thing is proving really hard to use at target effectiveness.
Mm-hmm.
What if we make that whole combat loop much simpler? which I like, but I think what I'd really like to see is, there's still a damage kicker. It's okay if you don't get it. It's literally just bonus on top of expected damage.
Yeah. I do like the charge matter more than just getting to move. If the charge did an extra 3d6 damage or something, that'd be fine.
Yeah, I do I like this better, but I agree that it is kind of a waste for the charge not to do anything extra. I will say this is probably more strategy than a Goristro is supposed to use, but you can always do that to hit something that you don't want next to you, knock them 20 feet over, then run over to something weaker like a spellcaster, and then start hitting it with slams. If you're going to be a mean GM that's using tactics against your PCs.
I mean, if the Goristro has a general on the field directing it, it could do that.
That's a really good point, right? Like, that looks like a squishy caster. Screw that guy. I need to get a spider off me. Bye, dude. Like, that's all good stuff. Because there's no save to avoid the 20-foot push and prone the way there is in 2014.
Right.
Also, if you have a battle mat with ledges, anything that pushes is much, much more dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Or that pool of lava,
that's pretty common
or the
in the
river
abyss.
Styx, or yeah. All right. Anything else on Goristro, or should we wrap it up here?
I will opine that we could probably get through the gray ooze if we put our minds to it, but it's okay if you don't want to.
I'll give you like 2 minutes to talk gray ooze.
Okay, so these guys are slurpers. That's a technical term. You can quote me on that.
I will quote you on that.
Sorry, I'm grabbing the ooze in 2014 for the comparison.
There are two varieties of the gray ooze. There's the gray ooze and there's the psychic gray ooze, which actually came into play recently in my Phandelver and Below game. There is a cow that spawns gray oozes, psychic gray oozes.
In my Wednesday night game, we had greatly CR increased versions of psychic gray oozes, and that was a friggin' awesome encounter. It was terrifying.
Now, as I recall from when I statted out that encounter, the 2014 Psychic Gray Ooze and the 2024 Psychic Gray Ooze actually have just straight up different abilities. Am I remembering that correctly?
Where is the 2014 Psychic Gray Ooze, please?
It's just a variant. It's just a variant sidebar for the Gray Ooze.
Okay. Cool.
And it adds.
Yeah, there
gives them an intelligence score of 6 and then gives them Psychic Crush that recharges on a 5 or 6.
I mean, Psychic Crush is pretty cool. But this Psychic Crush is only an average of 3 more damage, right? And they can use it all the time rather than recharge 5/6.
Right.
So,
they don't corrode metal anymore, but they do corrode mines.
Yeah. And they have a few more hit points than the baseline Grey Ooze. That's fine. Still no AC to speak of.
They're a slurper, right? They're easy to hit. They're just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, they got to slurp it up. But yeah, I think that's a pretty wonderful stat block to have for just. There's a mind in there. Oh, I don't like that at all. That's awful. Because
they do.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say they do the same thing, which I like in corrosive form, where they tell you if something gets damaged by their corrosive form, you can use mending, which is not a thing that they called out when they would say things got damaged before. So it's letting you know that is a thing that you need when you run into monsters like this.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think what I really want is a like space horror movie where the thing that's in the ship's like air ducts and crap is a Psychic Grey Ooze. Is a
CR1 Psychic Grey Ooze?
It's still terrifying, man.
In a movie, you're oftentimes dealing with level 0 experts, so I suppose that tracks.
That's right.
I like the idea that like the psychic gray ooze just kind of comes from like they're near things like mind flayers, and the ooze just absorbs psychic energy, so now it's psychic.
Yep. Why does it have the ability to absorb psychic energy? Shut up. Moving on.
I mean, accurate. Yeah.
Kind of a story of oozes.
Right? Nothing else gains special powers from just hanging out around psychic creatures, just gray oozes. But we're not going to worry about that because it's kind of cool. So.
But like the story totally changed in 2024 because now it's about failed attempts to summon or create creatures from the elemental plane of Earth. Why that? No idea. Except that, like, okay, so an intelligence came through from the plane of Earth, but it lost its cohesion. That's kind of cool, actually. I'm sort of into that.
Sure,
it is.
But why that makes them psychic? I don't know. Why does the gargoyle become psychic when it loses its cohesion? Stop asking silly questions. Have fun.
Because shut up.
Exactly. Okay.
Look, if you give me enough time, I can get you like 1,000 words on why it makes perfect sense.
Sure. I too can write things.
Yeah. Jared, I need that on my desk by tomorrow.
Yeah.
I would read that blog post. I'd read that blog post 9 times.
All right. I am going to call that the end of our episode. We are having too much fun, and it's good to end on a high note. So I want to say thank you to our panel. So Jared, if people want to hang out with Jared more in their ears or eyes, where could they do it?
You're not allowed to hang out with me in your eyes, but you can hang out with me in your ears. Well, it's a weird send off. You can hear me and my friend Ange on Taco with Advantage, where we talk about D&D stuff. And I guess you could use your eyes to look at words that I wrote on notes.
That's what I was implying. Yes.
Oh.
And Brandis, I also want to thank you for joining us. Other than the Tome Show, I think we're mostly enjoying you with our eyes. So where can we do that?
You can find my work in the Tome Show Discord, on my blog, which is brendastoddard.com, and my Patreon, which is Brenda Stoddard. I would absolutely love for more people to go watch Cloudward Ho, and all of the other wonderful things that are coming up soon from Dimension 20.
I say, how many seasons have you worked on now? I know they haven't like announced all the upcoming seasons, so you can't tell us what they are. But how many seasons have you worked on?
6.
6? That's a lot.
Yeah.
And how many of those are out?
3.
3 of them. Okay, I thought I knew 2 of them.
So I worked a long time ago. I contributed a tiny little thing to one of the Fantasy High seasons.
The junior year?
I think so.
Yeah.
And then I worked on Titan Takedown, and I worked on Cloudward Ho, and I worked on Redacted, and also Redacted. Right. So,
as well as Worlds Beyond Number, which also largely features Brendan Lee Mulligan DMing.
Yep, man, that show's so good. Oh my lord, that show is so good.
Yep. All right. Well, other than that, I also want to thank everyone who supports the show by being patrons over at patreon.com/The Tome Show. Your support helps me pay the bills and makes the show possible. Thanks goes out to our higher tier supporters, Doug Palmer, Hyperlexic, Merrick Blackman, and Michael Harrison, as well as a shout out that goes out to Bill Roundy, a new patron who just joined us, just like you all can. For as little as $1 a month, you can help make this show great. So I want to thank everybody who supports us as patrons, and all the contributions that you give.
And then if you'd like to contact us, you can send email, thetomeshow@gmail.com. That's still a thing that exists. You can find us on social media. I'm Sarah Darkmagic, that's Sarah with an H, and Jeff is Squatch, and SQUACH on most of the social medias.
Yep. and that is episode 391, where a gaggle of goblins ganged up on Gorgons as we discuss the Monster Manual in this episode of
The Tome.
I'm on the wall.